Is it any of our business, though, Gran? We talked about this last week when the story first broke, and I just think, is it any of our business, whether it be Meghan Markle, whether it be anyone? Surely it's for her to decide.
I have to kind of agree with you on that, because technically, as they're no longer members of the working royal family, they do their own thing. So as you quite rightly said, it is actually her private business. She didn't really need to tell anyone about this, if she doesn't want to, which is interesting. As I said again, that her team did mention that they had tried to reach out after her father said they hadn't. I think it's also difficult for her because even if she wants to keep it private, the fact that her father obviously, I think he had a journalist with him in the room, and obviously is keen to kind of get his kind of story out there. I think it's really difficult for them to keep it private. But the best thing for her to do would be to say nothing and just not get involved in this kind of thing, which is, can I say, what the royal family normally do when it comes to something like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's not a lot of people who will be watching really who are huge fans of Meghan. For whatever reason, I think a lot of us share that position. However, what is she meant to do? If he is in his hospital bed and he's not been at all well and all the rest of it, but he's got a journalist sat next to him, I mean, you are going to be cautious. You're not going to know what on earth he's going to do.
No, exactly. And I think that's the worrying bit, is you are going to kind of worry about it. And even if, say she wanted to go and be with him, well, how can you go and be with him and have a private time with him when there is a journalist there? It's really sad. And I think, again, as I said, with parents and children, when you have fallouts or things like this kind of happen, it's sad because it shouldn't be like this, really. No.
So, you just watched that clip, and wow, what a moment. A former royal butler calmly explaining that yes, Meghan Sussex is allowed to have private business, while the hosts are squirming and nodding and basically realizing mid-broadcast that they've been wrong this whole time. Priceless. Let's be real here. The UK media has been living rent-free in Meghan Sussex's life for years, acting like every single move she makes is a national emergency. And now, for the first time ever, even a channel known for relentless Meghan bashing, yes, GBNews, had to admit maybe, just maybe, she doesn't owe anyone an explanation. Stop the presses. Well, they tried, but the presses are already screaming. Here's the thing. This isn't about coldness. This isn't about ignoring a sick parent. This is about journalists camping in hospital rooms like paparazzi vultures, waiting to turn grief into clicks. You can't have a heart-to-heart when someone is live tweeting you tears and quoting every word for tabloids. That's not reconciliation, that's content creation. And it's exactly why Meghan Sussex has every right to say, nope, not happening. And the irony, the same people who scream, they left the royal family, they're private now, simultaneously act shocked when she actually behaves like a private citizen. You can't have it both ways, darling. You can't demand she shows up for a headline moment and then call her cold when she prioritizes herself. That's basic human decency, not royal scandal. Even the hosts on GBNews had to admit, begrudgingly, like kids caught stealing cookies, that she's being cautious for a reason. Anyone with half a brain would be. Hospital room, estranged parent, a journalist in the corner with a notebook and a camera. You walk in and act like nothing is happening? Yeah, good luck with that. Let's pause here for the drama. Imagine the nerve of a media empire demanding emotional labor from a woman whose private life has been dissected for years. Imagine sitting there, knowing that your every word, your every gesture could be weaponized. And then imagine being criticized for protecting yourself? That's Meghan Sussex's reality. And yes, that's outrageous. And can we talk about the messaging slip-up here? The host actually said out loud, is it any of our business? Like, wait, did they just acknowledge reality? Did a UK broadcaster just admit that boundary setting isn't a crime? This is the kind of chaos that makes you want to grab popcorn and a notepad. And the kicker, they even admit she didn't need to tell anyone anything. No press releases, no staged photos, no emotional sob story for public consumption. That is not cold. That is common sense. And yet, somehow, common sense is painted as scandal when it comes from Meghan Sussex. And let's not forget, the media has had years of free access to her personal life. Leaks, lies, manipulated interviews, staged paparazzi shots, you name it, they've done it. But when Meghan decides to finally reclaim her privacy, suddenly she's the villain. Let that sink in. This is the part that makes you smirk. Even the hosts recognized it's sad. Sad that family fallouts exist, sad that people can't just resolve things privately. And yet, that sadness doesn't magically give them the right to harass her. That sadness doesn't erase the decades of intrusion. That sadness doesn't justify turning someone's grief into headlines. And here's the truth bomb the media doesn't want you to see. Meghan Sussex doesn't owe anyone a reunion photo. She doesn't owe anyone access to her father's health updates. She doesn't owe anyone emotional labor for profit. The audacity of expecting her to? Legendary. Honestly, this whole situation is the perfect storm of hypocrisy. The monarchy hides behind never complain, never explain, and when Meghan Sussex follows the exact same rules, the media loses its mind. Silence equals cruelty, boundaries equals villainy. It's absurd. And yet, here we are. And let's dive deeper. The way tabloids obsess over her every choice is exhausting. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that your decision to speak, stay silent, leave the country, buy a coat, or blink in public will be dissected, twisted, and weaponized. And yet, somehow, Meghan Sussex still walks with dignity, still holds her ground, still refuses to let them monetize her grief. That's resilience. That's power. And it drives them insane. This isn't just media hypocrisy. This is a culture-wide obsession with controlling her narrative. If Meghan smiles, she's manipulative. If she cries, she's performing. If she walks away, she's heartless. And yet, when the monarchy does exactly the same thing, withdrawing, staying silent, protecting themselves, they're praised for it. The double standard is so glaring it could be seen from space. And here's the most satisfying part. After all the screaming, all the op-eds, all the clickbait headlines, even the GBNews hosts, whose job is basically to manufacture outrage, had to admit quietly, begrudgingly, hilariously, that yes, she has every right to choose when, how, or if she engages. That's like watching a grown-up version of a kid caught lying and just shrugging in defeat. Beautiful. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about Meghan being cold or unloving. It's about her refusing to be exploited for drama. And that is exactly what the tabloids cannot comprehend. They've spent years building a fantasy where her life exists for their entertainment. And the moment she asserts autonomy, chaos, outrage, anger, confusion, headlines scrambling for a moral loophole. So let's be clear, Meghan Sussex is protecting herself, and anyone criticizing her is really just mad that their free ride in her life just ended. The hypocrisy is staggering, the audacity of their outrage is hilarious, and the satisfaction of watching reality slowly seep through their narrative, unmatched. This story is more than a family dispute, more than a hospital visit. It's a masterclass in boundaries, privacy, and self-preservation, and a spectacular public demonstration of how the media refuses to accept them when it involves Meghan Sussex. And the takeaway? It's painfully simple. She doesn't owe anyone anything. She's allowed to choose peace over performance. She's allowed to prioritize herself. And the media, well, they'll keep screaming. But their outrage has never been more transparent, more baseless, or more ridiculous. So, next time you see a headline screaming, Meghan refuses to see her father, remember the actual story. The woman is taking control of her own life, protecting her dignity, and refusing to let vultures profit off her grief. And for that, she deserves not judgment, but respect, the very thing she's been denied for years. And the funniest part? Even the most aggressive Meghan-bashing hosts couldn't deny it. Begrudgingly, reluctantly, hilariously, they admitted she is right, and that, my friends, is pure, unfiltered, delicious justice.